Hey everyone, welcome back to another stream. I'm really excited about today's topic. We are going to have a lot of fun. If you're new here to the stream, or if or just watching the replay, feel free to just say hello, drop a comment, say hi. I am monitoring the chat for everybody in the live stream, and so drop a thumbs up, just say hello. Let's see who you are, where you're from, and get ready to have a lot of fun. So today's topic, we're going to be talking about different ways that you can leverage your Jira skills to make money. Now I'm going to be showing you different techniques, different styles, different skills really that you can develop or that you can take advantage of if you already have some skills on maybe different ways that you can make either your main income stream or supplemental income in case you hadn't thought about it. So I'm just going to share some of the more popular ones. I'll share some of the ones that I've used before, some of the ones I'm still currently using, and I'm excited to basically just share with you. I know we're about to, like, the economy is kind of weird, we're going to enter this recession, so if you've been worrying about like how do I survive, there's so much you can control, and I just wanted to make this video because if you've been following along, right, you're building your Jira skill repertoire, if you will. You're getting better and better at this tool, and hopefully you can take advantage of that, right? Because just having the information in your head doesn't do you a whole lot of good, right? You want to kind of turn around and get some money. And so we're going to be talking about, let me start flashing the screen up here. So we're going to talk about how to make money with Jira. Um, and specifically, I got a bunch of different ways. So let's see in the chat here. How many of you have heard of these, right? Has anybody ever used freelancing before? Jira's data center, just an administrator. Anybody heard of an Atlassian partner? Let me know in the comments. Let me know if any of these stand out. Let me know if you are one of these, if you do practice one of these already. I'd love to know. I see 6 of you are in the chat here. So feel free to use the chat. Let me know. Let's get some interaction going. I'd love to know which one you're interested in. Maybe I can focus a little bit more on a specific topic here, based on the interest here, right? So let's make this as interactive as possible. Take advantage of that chat. It's on the right hand side of your screen here, and you should be able to just let me know a couple things. One, are any of these completely foreign to you, right? Like, have you never heard of one of these? I'd like to know so that I can spend a couple minutes there. Two, do any of these stand out to you, right? Do any of these like really interest you, and maybe you want to know a little bit more detail? And then three is, do you currently do any of these, right? Are you currently an Atlassian partner? Are you currently a Scrum Master? Do you currently have your own YouTube channel, right? I'd like to know. So let me know in the chat here. I am monitoring that. We have a few people in the chat here, so in the class here. So it's really exciting. Let's try to make this fun and engaging and exciting and interesting for everybody. So Valerie says, "Hi, Teach. It's V. Good to see you just in time." Yes, thank you so much for dropping by. Hopefully you get some good value out of this class today. All right, so we're going to be talking about freelancing, specifically Fiverr and Upwork. There's a lot of other platforms. I'll kind of touch some of the other ones, but Fiverr and Upwork is where we're going to be focusing. I'm going to give you some tips, some tricks. Josie, everything looks foreign to me. You are going to love this then, because hopefully by the end of this, you'll feel like you have a little bit more control with respect to how you can make some money. And hopefully you learning Jira doesn't seem like a waste of time anymore. Feel free, or keep in mind that everything I'm teaching you here, you can swap out a lot of it from like Jira to whatever you are doing, right? So if you're a Scrum Master or you're just interested in something else, you can definitely just like swap out Jira and put in your niche, whatever you're interested in. But in general, I'm going to give you just general good advice for how to essentially like find work, get leads, make some money, whether it's like fun money, whether it's to pay your bills, whether it's like your full-time career. I just want to show you some tips and tricks from like some of the ones again that I've done in the past, and then some of the ones that are just like they're available, and you should probably at least know that they exist. Because at the end of the day, you don't know what you don't know, right? So this is why you're here. You're here to learn, and you're hopefully can then take action, right? Because all of this stuff that I'm going to teach you today, everything's great, but you got to take action, right? And so hopefully I'm giving you a framework here, a little playbook, if we will, so that you can in the future actually go and do something with this information and put hopefully some good money in your pockets. All right, so we'll be covering freelancing. We'll be covering just Jira administration. There are two sides of the Jira administration cloud. There's the data center or on-premise, and then there's the cloud. There are different skill sets. So I'm just going to show you kind of the things you should be aware of when you're trying to select one path or the other. We'll talk about the Atlassian Partner Program. This is actually a very, very interesting program. I've never personally done it, but I have worked with Atlassian partners in the past. So it's definitely an interesting way to make a living here, but it's just, again, one of those things where it's good for you to know that they exist. I will talk about Scrum Masters, and I'm grouping Scrum Masters, project managers, program managers, technical program managers into the same bucket because the day to day, even though they're not exactly the same, they're related. And then we'll talk about product owners and product managers, which is a different bucket, similar like work, but obviously slightly different. And so I'll talk about that towards the end. We'll jump into the more complicated stuff here, which is going to be the Jira Marketplace or developing plugins. So this is going to be for my folks here on the call that know how to program. If you know how to code, this is definitely going to be one of those opportunities where you're going to want to probably explore. I know it's an opportunity that I'm actively seeking and something that I'm going to be doing well into 2023. But if you can code, this is probably going to be the most lucrative option out of all the options here. Because let me tell you, you make something great, you make a great product, a lot of cash comes your way. All right, so Valerie's got Fiverr's great. I have a Relaxing Vibes YouTube channel for stress relief and use Fiverr services for thumbnails all the time. Yep, cool. So we have a veteran that uses Fiverr, and so maybe you can give me some extra tips in case I miss something. So be paying attention, and when we get to that section, feel free, Valerie, to let me know if I missed something in the chat here. And then finally, we'll talk about YouTube, which obviously you're here. I'm doing it. I'm going to show you compare some contrast, give you some numbers, kind of give you an idea for what it takes to be a YouTuber and then trainer, right? So we'll talk about training and just like what does it take to share your knowledge, right? So Gary's like, hey, Gary says, hey, Alex, my role in my company is Jira administrator. The company I work for uses cloud. Yes, the cloud is becoming a lot more popular. I personally love the cloud. And so Gary, again, when I get to this section, maybe again, if you have some experience or some expertise, some knowledge you want to share here with the community, feel free to drop them when we get into that section. So I'm going to start with basically freelancing and Fiverr. And the reason I'm doing this is because when I quit my job in April of 2021, this is the first place that I went to. So not having a future job lined up, this was basically what I turned to try to make money. And let me tell you, it was really, really scary. It was one of those things where I didn't know if it was going to work. I didn't know if anybody was ever going to like hire me. It was really, really scary. But I've been using it since April of last year. I use it for many, many months. I don't use it as much anymore. I have different revenue streams of income here. But Fiverr and Upwork, which are going to be the first two that I focus on, these two were like really, really interesting to me. They really did help define my career trajectory or where I'm at today. And Fiverr and Upwork, both of them concurrently, I recommend you use them both. So I'm going to talk a little bit about each of them, and I can give you some tips, some tricks, some pointers, some advice for maybe you're not a Jira administrator, right? But maybe you're a Scrum Master, maybe you're a project manager, maybe you're a product owner, right? But you have skills, you know how to do something, and Fiverr and Upwork, these next two tips here are going to be very helpful to help you see what else is out there, right? Maybe you have a full-time job and you just want to do a couple of like weekend jobs. Maybe you want to do a couple of things in just in the evenings, right? Moonlighting a couple of things. And so through Fiverr, through Upwork, it's a great way to basically offer up your services and let people all over the world find you, and they will pay you some good money to do that job. So we'll start off with Fiverr. I'm just going to come into Fiverr here and we'll be basically walking you through the interface. Well, I'm not going to spend too much time on the interface, but kind of just walking you through what this looks like and my experience with Fiverr. And so many of you, I'm in the switch to buying, so many of you have probably been a Fiverr before. And so these are all the different things that you can buy, right? So you can come in here and essentially buy services from all these different kinds of people. But this should be your inspiration, because knowing what you can sell, because this is what you can buy, should inspire you to like figure out, okay, so what should I try to sell, right? What kind of services can I do? And so for our life or our business here within the world of IT, we fall under programming and tech. And so these are all the different things that we can do within our world. And so a couple of areas that I want you to go focus on, right? There's support in IT. There is, let's see if there's any actual, there should be like a project management. I don't know that it's going to be in, it's probably in business. Yeah, under business, there should be project management over here, right? So if you're a Scrum Master type, right, this is probably where you're going to want to be under business project management. But if you're definitely like more of the like Jira administrator, DevOps and cloud, support and IT, those are going to be great kind of categories for you to offer up your services with. Now, I'm just going to type in Jira because I'm going to look for basically a Jira administrator. And look, lo and behold, your host here pops up. But it's always a good idea to go take a look at the competition, right? And so some of the things that you want to do when you're building your Fiverr profile is in your area and what you're trying to specialize in, go find out what others are selling. So if you've ever been wondering, like, what does a Jira admin as a freelancer make? Well, here's some of the different rates that you can do. Now, obviously, these are going to be just all over the world. So one of the things you can do here is just toggle this local sellers, and this is going to restrict the results to only people in your area. So at first, I was kind of expensive at 150, right? But now when you compare it to the people that are available in my local region, now I'm looking like the better option here because I'm probably the cheapest option, right? So look at this one. This one starts at $1,300, $165, $750. This one's mine at 200, and then we got another one here at 1,000. So these are obviously like this is the pricing, right? This is what you can use to figure out how much can you charge in your region, wherever you're at in the world for your specific service. So I like to come in here every once in a while and just take a look at the competition. So I'm going to open this person's here. They will migrate your Jira server to cloud. The reason I'm picking this one is because this is probably one of the most common things to be doing right now in Jira. Moving from the server or from an on-premise data center version of Jira to the cloud is something that is being pushed on a lot. Atlassian, if you're paying attention in the space, Atlassian's kind of killing off the data center, the on-premise versions of Jira, and they're really promoting, they're really encouraging. They're not mandating, but they're really encouraging folks to take a look and get on over to the cloud because essentially the features just don't really always come to the data center, right? I don't know if the Jira guy is on here. We usually have the Jira guy jump on every once in a while. So Jira guy, if you're watching the recording, shout out to you. But um, he wrote a big lengthy article about how Atlassian is basically not like they're putting a nail in the coffin on data center. So right now, if you know how to do both the data center or the on-premise version of Jira or server as shown here, and you know how to use the cloud, then there's a lot of traffic, right? Even in my videos on YouTube, some of the comments that I get, or I should say the most popular comment that I get is, "Hey, Alex, do some videos on how to migrate from the data center to Jira." So again, this is a skill set that if you can do it, if you're good at it, it's really not that hard. I've done like 2 or 3 migrations myself. It's not like the end of the world type of thing. I would say it's fairly straightforward. So if you can figure it out, I recommend you do it. This guy right here charges $165 for an hour. He'll do the entire migration for $2,500. And then $3,000 is for Jira and Confluence. So he'll do both your Jira and Confluence for $3,500. So interesting here. So this is just literally a 1 hour consultation. Like literally he's charging 100. This person's charging, I shouldn't say he, right? This individual's charging $165 to sit with you just to talk about the cloud strategy, the migration strategy. So really, really interesting. But as you can see, this just goes to show that if you word and if you create something that is in demand, you can definitely offer up your services because you never know. You literally never know when someone anywhere around the world is going to be going through this struggle. And here's a person that can solve their problem. And so for that, I encourage you, make some gigs, right? So in Fiverr, these things are called gigs. And you, at the beginning, I believe you can only have like 3 gigs or something like that. And then, but as you get better, I'll show you some of my stats in a second. But as you get better, you can add more. So the more that you have, the more likely that you're gonna like come up in a search and be able to help somebody out. So this particular user here is only doing this migration thing for now. But I was hoping that when I clicked on this user, I can go to this user and see what other gigs he has. But this guy or gal only has one service here, right? So, anyways, this is Fiverr. Now, what makes Fiverr interesting is that you put your services up. So you put like a little ad, if you will, on like, hey, this is what I know how to do. And so if you're a Scrum Master for hire, if you're a product owner for hire, right, then you just go, hey, I'm a product owner, I'm a Scrum Master, I'm gonna help you out. This is what I do. Here are my rates. Here's what you're gonna get, and then people are gonna engage with you one way or another, right? You can obviously promote these on social media. Other people can help promote them for you, but it's really, really good to like maybe set some low, right? Maybe you can do like $20, $50. One of the big misconceptions of Fiverr is that it's a $5 thing, but it used to be way, way back in the day. But as you can see, people like this are charging a good amount of money. Now, this particular person doesn't have any reviews, so I am going to say that they probably haven't gotten a gig yet. Um, so it's probably safe to say that yeah, they might be a little too expensive for most people. But that's there. And so you can see I have 13 from again. I've been doing this for a while now, so I have a couple of orders that I've had over the time, and so you can see that I think I'm priced appropriately because everybody in my competition here that's a little bit more expensive than me, you can see that they don't have any reviews other than this guy at $10. But I'm probably one of the better options here, which would probably explain all the traffic I usually get and a lot of people that I got to turn down. But anyways, this is Fiverr. Let me show you a little bit on what it looks like in selling. So when you come over here, you can go. They just really recently changed everything. So I wanted to show you the gig performance here. Maybe no, this is not it. I'm trying to see. There was maybe under overview. Here we go. So you can see I've made like $10,000 over my lifetime of using Fiverr. You can see how many orders I've made, right? And so the only thing that sucks, the only thing I don't like about Fiverr is that they take 20%. So if you charge $100, you're only gonna get $80. So you gotta accommodate that in your price. So if you're charging $20, you're gonna get like $2 less, right? So you wanna be very mindful of the fact that Fiverr non-negotiable. They're gonna keep like a flat 20% out of everything. So just keep that in mind when if you're trying to set up a Fiverr here. But yeah, and so they have goals. This is kind of something I like. They have like these levels. You can go from just being a newbie to being level 1 to being a level 2 to being top rated. As you can see, I am a level 1 and I have 38 out of 50 orders. Once I hit the 50, so I need 12 more orders, then I can get to that level 2 status. And with these, like the only like the benefits are that you get again more gigs. Fiverr does take like 3 weeks to pay you out. And so as you progress, like the money that they pay you out, like the time it takes to pay you out gets faster and faster. So anyways, if you haven't checked out Fiverr, highly recommend you check them out. I really like them. Like I mean, I like them, but I don't like them too much. But I think it's a great place to start out because, especially if you're shy, if you're kind of the type of person that maybe you're not a salesperson, right? You're not like overly like, hey, this is me, come hire me. Like I like Fiverr because it's very passive, right? You just post your services, you post your rates, what you do, how much it'll cost, how quickly you can deliver, and then people are just going to be window shopping, right? And so they'll come to you, and so you don't need to go to people. And so that's the part that I like about Fiverr. Again, really, really easier for beginners. Unfortunately, though, they do take a good 20% cut, so just be careful with that. So the next one I want to talk about is Upwork. Now, I like Upwork way more than Fiverr. This is yet another platform. Again, when I was starting off many, many, many months ago, I guess a year and a half ago now, this is, again, one of those platforms that I started using to really take advantage of here. Now, the way Upwork works is you actually go to people. So people will post up. So what we're going to see here, what you're seeing this here, these jobs you might like, these are companies all around the world posting that like, hey, I need help. I need a service from somebody. Okay. And so what happens is you as the person that can provide the service, you will then go and like basically apply. It's literally like applying to a job. So you gotta go fill out like an application, if you will. It's very streamlined. You basically tell them how much you're gonna charge them, and why they should hire you, right? Some teams, some companies around the world ask like for examples. They'll ask for like give me experience of like how I know you can solve this problem for me. But most of the time, I say like 9 times out of 10 is literally like, how much are you going to charge me, and why should I hire you? Um, but it's kind of cool though, because then you go and find what people are asking for, right? So if you're a project manager, here's what they're asking for. You can see the rate. So this is kind of interesting, right? So you can see how much they're willing to pay. This can help you, right? So if you're starting out, this is kind of like the first time you're like, hey, how do I know how much to charge for my Jira services? Well, come in here and check out how much they're charging, how much companies are willing to pay. They're literally giving you the answers here. And so you can see that if you're a senior level IT project manager, $50 to $110 is what you should be charging, right? So you should be somewhere in that bucket here. And then when you go to Fiverr, you can go and charge appropriately, because remember, Fiverr's kind of like that 180 of Upwork. And so all you got to do is basically click on the one you like, and then you have an apply button or a submit proposal. Now, the one thing here is that you see this word connects. So, um, oops, you can't see my screen very well, can you? I don't think you can. Let me try to move to the left. Here we go. So you can see the word connect, or maybe you could see it and I just don't have a big window. Um, but there's a connect here. And so basically you just can't willy-nilly like apply to everything, right? Like this is not, this is an organized crime type of thing. And so you actually are given like 10 points per month. And so that means you can apply to like 2 jobs a month, right? A 6 and a 4-pointer or something like that. However, every time you do interview, they will reward you with like 10 extra points. And so you don't have to get the job to get the reward, but every month you'll get by default 10 points, or you can even buy extra. This is how they're making some money there. So you can buy extra points. You can get rewarded if you actually at least get an interview, and or you just wait every month, you'll get 10 points. You can keep up to about 200 points month, like year over year. I haven't had to use my points in a very long time. But this is just, again, just another option for you to just keep in mind that it is available for you, and you can go and apply to these kind of jobs. I like it just because I can see what they're asking for. I can see how much they're willing to pay. And so here's some of the questions that they want. Now, if you're following along at home, like this is really, really critical. I want you to keep this in mind. When you're starting out, right? Because you're probably watching this because you're like, hey, how do I make extra money, right? Um, these proposals, if you're kind of not sure what you should be focusing on, right? Maybe you're new. Maybe you're just like taking your initial courses on how to become a Scrum Master. Maybe you're just like learning Jira for the very first time. Well, if you come in here and I type in like Scrum Master, right? I'm just going to come and see if I can find an actual Scrum Master position. Here's an Agile Project Manager. We'll take that one. Oh, you know what? Let's take a experienced product owner, right? These people here are basically telling you what you need to know. So you need to know how to do sprint planning. You need to know how to do backlog prioritization. You need to know how to do retrospectives, right? How to basically size and create the acceptance criteria. How to story map in Figma and Jira, right? And so they're telling you the skills that you should go and learn, the skills you should go and focus on, and essentially master, so that when you're filling out your proposals, you can essentially be more prepared, right? You can feel more confident in yourself and knowing that, hey, I can actually do this job and provide you this service because I know how to do this stuff. And so again, if you're completely new and you're like starting out fresh and you're like, just how do I get started? What do I need to learn? There's so many things. Go look at these jobs, go look at how much they're willing to pay, and then kind of start putting 2 and 2 together, right? So I highly recommend, if you're not using Upwork or Fiverr, those are going to be the first 2 platforms that I recommend you go check out. So in the comment section, let me know in the chat if you if you found this valuable, if you've ever made an Upwork before, Fiverr. Valerie, if you're still here, did I miss anything? Anything you'd want to add? Anything you'd want to tell the people? Let me know, because again, we're here to help everybody out. And so if I missed anything or something that I could have added, please feel free to drop that in the chat. All right. So we're going to keep on going here. So we're going to go to the Jira on-premise administrator, and I'm going to talk about the differences. Well, I'm going to tell you what a Jira on-premise admin does. We'll talk about the cloud, and then we'll kind of go and look at careers. We'll go look at jobs that you can do. Now, when I'm talking about these next 2 sections where I'm talking about being a Jira on-premise admin, and I'm being very intentful with putting on-premise on here, because there are some differences. There's obviously a lot of similarity, but there are some subtle differences that I feel like they classify as 2 different jobs. You you really do need to be way more skilled in one area than if you do the other. But second, these items, unlike the first section where we covered freelancing is like you sell your services for pay, right? But you're just a contractor. You're not an employee somewhere. These next two sections, we're going to be talking about you actually being an employee. So these will typically like you'll have benefits, right? You'll be like what we call here in the United States a W-2 or a full-time employee. And so these are the kind of things that you can get hired as and really be a real employee, right? Kind of like Gary Sprouse here earlier, he was saying that he's a Jira admin at his company and he's going to fall under the next slide. But I wanted to talk about what it takes to be an on-premise Jira administrator because this is probably the harder of the two. An on-premise Jira administrator is heavy on the IT side. And what this means is like just knowing how to do Jira isn't going to be enough. There's a lot more to this job. There's a lot like in cybersecurity. So if you're interested in any of these things, cybersecurity, databases, and networking, this side of the house is probably going to be more appropriate to you, right? Because with Jira on premise, you have to worry about making sure that Jira is patched, making sure that Confluence is patched. And what I mean by that is, I don't know if you're aware of this, but there's hackers all over the world, and they're constantly always trying to like break into companies and steal data and things of that nature, right? And so Atlassian is a really big targeted company. Now, when you use the cloud, you take cybersecurity for granted because Atlassian handles the cybersecurity portion for you on your behalf. You're paying that monthly fee for them to worry about it. But when you're on premise, your Jira's on your servers. And so you are responsible for patching it. And so you have to go fix this. I say that very loosely too, because obviously Atlassian is going to provide you with the install and the patch, but you are kind of responsible for like upgrading, backing up, doing everything that you got to do to keep your Jira and your environment safe, right? Whether that's putting it behind a firewall, whether that's putting it behind like a proxy, those kind of things, right? Like you're kind of responsible for all that. Second, databases. The data in Jira is actually on your servers. So if your hard drives go out, well, so does your data, right? So there's a lot more maintenance of like strategically setting up databases, and strategically backing up information. You get a lot more control, right? You own your data, which is why companies go to the on-premise version of Jira. But again, you have to understand how databases work. Me as a Jira Cloud admin, I could care less about the database, right? Because again, Atlassian has all that covered. They figure it out. They optimize storage. They optimize queries. They do everything on their end. But I don't own my data. All of my data is on their servers. So companies like defense contractors, things of that nature, they can't afford that. So if this is interesting to you, then you can find jobs with companies that hire permanent Jira administrators. But keep in mind, you're not going to probably just be doing Jira administration. You're probably going to be like a system administrator where you're going to be doing a little bit more IT and obviously Jira, right? And so you'll also have to know how networking works, and you got to know how to like hide your Jira from the internet and how to like just funnel the right traffic, right? And so this how to with the data center, you can do like redundancy, right? So how does it fall back into other servers and things like that to always keep the services running? Because if you have Jira installed in your company and it's like in a server room and that server room floods, no, sorry, I guess that's insensitive for all the people in Florida, right? But if a natural disaster like strikes wherever your Jira is at, it's gone, right? Unless you kind of had your right networking and failovers and all that other stuff. Versus the cloud, it's automatically taken care of for you. So as an administrator, you don't have to worry about hackers as much. You don't have to worry about corrupted data as much. You don't have to worry about failovers and backups and those kind of things as a cloud administrator because a lot of that stuff is taken care of because you're paying a monthly subscription for the cloud. So again, if you're going to go down this route, it's for folks that are probably a little bit more like IT hypes you up, right? Like you like this IT stuff. Maybe you like to program, maybe you like to code a little bit more. But DevOps, those kind of things, DevSecOps, which is a more common term, this is probably going to be your cup of tea. Versus the cloud, literally all you got to worry about Jira. And Gary, if you're still listening, I'm probably oversimplifying this, right? But compared to what I just talked about, right? When you're a Jira cloud administrator, you just literally have to keep the lights on for Jira, right? You just have to make sure that you're configuring the project. You're really more of an application administrator at that point. You're managing users, you're doing customizations, configurations to Jira, but you don't have to worry about having a failover, right? You don't have to worry about backing up your Jira. You don't have to worry about a lot of these things because it's all being done on your behalf. So you can take that stress off and just worry about, again, managing the actual application. So I don't know that there's a difference in pay. I don't think that I've ever investigated that enough to know. We can explore that in the future. Let me know in the chat if this is something that's interesting to you, right? Like, do you care to know if there's a big pay difference? Gary, I don't know if you've seen from your experience. I was personally have been mainly an on-premise administrator, but I could tell you that I was very close six figures a few years ago, right? So I wasn't quite six figures, but I was also kind of junior in my development here, and so high five figures, very very low six figures is kind of where it's going to be because again you're an on premise IT system support cost center type of people, so those typically jobs don't pay so well, versus the Jira Cloud. I think these are. I know that there's usually some. Almost every company has some sort of a Jira administrator for the cloud because there's just a lot happening in the cloud, right? You need somebody to manage these. A lot of companies, though, I will admit though that when they are in the cloud, they go to the freelancing route, right? They go and hire a couple people to just do changes every once in a while, right? And so Gary says, I dealt with both. I definitely prefer cloud because of, yeah. So it's a lot easier in the cloud. Honestly, like from a career perspective, like if I'm going to be paid the same, I'm going to go to the cloud because there's a whole lot less I got to worry about. And the benefits the same, right? It's still the same product, but I'm going to get paid for basically doing half the amount of work. And so I think the pay should be pretty close though. Like we'll definitely investigate for a future episode here, but I just wanted you to consider that. So, anyways, what I want you to take a look at, right, is like something like Indeed. If you put in Jira Administrator, you can come in and kind of start looking to see what kind of jobs are out there. So again, keep in mind that when you're going down this route, you're essentially applying to be a full-time employee, right? Compared to the Fiverr and Upwork route, those were contract. Those were you come in, you do your thing, and you get out. You get paid, and you can charge a bigger fee because you don't have benefits. You don't have like health insurance, right? You don't have a lot of these other um, like 401ks and vacation days, right? So you charge by the hour, so your rate is a lot higher. Versus this route, this path to make money with your Jira skills, you're really applying for like a permanent position, right? You're a real employee, W-2, you have benefits, you have 401k, you have retirement, you have life insurance, right? Those kind of things. So these are going to be those jobs. So I recommend you jump on like Indeed. Glassdoor is another good one. And you can come in here and like take a look. A lot of these are remote. That's one of the cool things today, right? Like a lot of these Jira things, like they can be done remote. I work with teams on all over the world. So you don't have to be like on site to do this, right? Jira Cloud, at least, is accessible through anywhere on the internet. Similar will apply to the data center if they've set up their access correctly. Most days, like today, we have like virtual private networks and like tunnels and stuff that you can come into your network, because keep in mind that Jira for the data center is on an actual physical machine somewhere that is owned by your company, hopefully, maybe. And so the access can be a little bit trickier, right? I know that when I was a Jira admin, I was on site. We didn't allow for external because of the sensitivity of where I worked at. It was all like you had to be on site, right? But now that I do Jira Cloud, I'm all over the internet, right? Like I just need an internet connection to do my job. So, anyways, come over here, just take a look at one of these, right? You can see that these predictions are $82 to $170,000, $107,000 a year, which is kind of what I was explaining right now. You should expect high five figure, low six figure to do these things, right? You can kind of see here we're looking at 82 to 105. Let's see if we can find a couple more. Here's another one, Lados here in Arlington, Virginia, for all the people, all my folks in the DMV, right? 65 to 135. Obviously, it's going to depend on your years of experience and things of that nature, but if you're interested, right? Like if Jira's like, you're like, hey, I can do this Jira stuff. Like take a look at these jobs, right? Like 108, this one's a little bit more expensive, or a little bit more on the high side, 108 to 136. And so you can see like this is probably going to be, given the fact that they're asking for Jira and Linux, and they're asking for like Python and stuff like that, there's probably going to be one of these like more data center like, right? This is probably not going to be on the cloud, because you can see that they're starting to ask for a little bit more IT type of skills here. So anyways, take a look at those. There's a lot of different positions, right? Lots of different pay gaps and bumps, and a lot of like just different opportunities, whether you're starting out new, or you're a well seasoned person. Like there's just going to be a good amount of jobs here for you to kind of go take a look at. Obviously your salary is going to be dependent on your years of experience, but this is another way that you can again leverage those skills as a Jira admin. So anybody, I know Gary in the chat, he's obviously falls in this bucket, but anybody interested in these kind of jobs, anybody thinking of applying to anything, let me know in the chat. Let's make this a little bit more interactive and see what's up. Okay, next up is going to be the Atlassian partner. We'll talk about this. This, if you're not aware, so Atlassian is a giant company, right? And so they make this product. They make a series of products, right? Jira being one of them, Confluence, Jira Align, Jira Work Management, Jira Service Management, Atlas, Bitbucket, right? The list goes on and on and on. They make a lot of products here at Atlassian. So they can't manage everything. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of gears to the Atlassian ecosystem, right? There's a lot of stuff happening in this space. And Atlassian as a company, their priority is to like add features, make the product better. And while they do have like top tier technical support, it's just sometimes hard. It's sometimes hard to get dedicated, specific, affordable even help. And so what Atlassian has created, they actually have this thing called a partner program. And so we're going to take a look at that. And essentially, these are like companies. They're not quite freelancing, although this is technically freelancing, right? But they offer like, it's a little bit more longer contract, right? So they have better pay. They have it's kind of like in between the last two options, right? Where you're gonna be an employee of an Atlassian partner, but the Atlassian partner is gonna go look for the clients, right? And so they're gonna go charge a lot. So I don't know if you've heard of companies like Deloitte, EY, Accenture, right? Like these are big consulting type companies that go charge like $300, $400, $500 an hour, and then they'll pay you like $60 an hour to actually go do the work. So this is kind of what I'm talking about. This is kind of that domain. So it's interesting, right? Because it's if you look at the first two options, right? The option one of like being a freelancer, you carry all the risk. Using your Jira skills, you have to go find clients, right? And so that could be tricky, that could be hard, that can be scary. Going the route that we just discussed of becoming a full-time employee, you need to essentially lock yourself in, long-term commitments, right? Stock investing, 401k vesting periods, right? Retention bonus vesting, right? There's a lot of ways that companies will lock you in, and you're kind of just doing that same thing every single day for the same company over and over and over and over. And so I really like this Atlassian partner route because it's kind of like the best of both worlds. You get the permanent, like, you get that comfort of, hey, I have a real job. And then you have the other comfort that you're doing like a 6-month job, right? So in 6 months, you might work with another client. 6 months after that, you'll be in a different client. Or maybe you're working on 2 clients in parallel, 3 clients in parallel, right? So it's kind of interesting. I like it. It's something that's really interesting to me. And so you can come, Atlassian has a website. So some of these names, if you've been in this space, if you're in the Jira space, some of these names might look familiar to you. And so we got big companies like Adaptivist, ISOS Technology. We got a couple of other ones that aren't mentioned here, like C Prime is a really, really big one where they specialize. Oh, they were down here, right? So C Prime, XBM is really popular. They're really, really big. But one of the things that I want you to look at, every single one of these has global certified individuals. So the downfall, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, you need to have the certification, the ACP certifications and whatever other certifications there are out there to kind of really help work for these kind of companies. So if that's your cup of tea, right? If you can actually go and study and get the ACPs or certifications in Jira, then I would recommend you kind of go look at this route, right? Just because you get a little bit of everything. I like it. C Prime is really good. Although I will tell you that there's pressure, right? So when you work for like a company like C Prime, you're fixing a very specific problem, and your company is charging like $300-400 an hour, and so the pressure for you to deliver and actually solve that problem goes exponentially higher, right? And so I wanted you to keep in mind, right? There are some cons. Again, there's pros and cons to everything in life, but those are some of the cons. And so you can come in here to C Prime, and it'll just take you to their actual website, and you can kind of see like what they specialize in. So these are the products that they have employees, right? So if you're good at one thing, like Jira, like me, you can go just specialize and be their Jira expert. They also have like they'll help companies install it. They'll do training. They'll do like they'll take care of the whole environment for you. They'll help you with your migration, right? So you can see that they specialize in a couple of different things, different industries. Interesting work, right? I like this. Like I said, this is something that I personally though, because I'm more of an entrepreneur, I would look for like opening my own partner, right? And then there's platinum. There's also different layers, right? So you don't have to go full platinum. But anyway, this is an option where if you're looking for companies where maybe you're like, hey, what's a good reputable company that I can go work at? You can go take a look at these different companies here and see if you can try your luck. Although I would warn you, right? Make sure you have your certifications before you come and try to do one of these. But the partners are really, really good. It's a good option for you to kind of investigate and look into. Josie says, I am, but I think I need to up my Jira skills and knowledge. Yep. Josie, guess what though? At least you're in the right place. You're at the right channel on the internet, on YouTube to get those skills. And Perry says he just started. So Perry, welcome to just starting. We all got to start somewhere. And I'm glad that you're here and you're watching these videos here too. This is probably, again, not to toot my own horn, but this is probably a good place for you to start. All right, we'll keep going down. So these next two categories, I'm going to bucket them together. And I'm only mentioning them because I know a lot of my audience here are like Scrum Masters and things of that nature. But everything I talked about from the Jira perspective is going to apply, right? These are probably, if you're a Scrum Master, you can go do a Scrum Master for hire, like in freelancing. If you are a Scrum Master, you can go and basically apply to full-time Scrum Master jobs, right? And you saw like when I opened up C Prime, they have like Scale Agile. So there are definitely some partners. Agile and Jira go hand in hand. And so there's a lot of opportunities for you to be a Scrum Master to like a partner and things of that nature. Now, the one thing I want you to consider though, you do have to shift your mindset a little bit. So everything we've been talking up to this point has been very focused on like the Jira administrative, like how to work, how to keep Jira alive. The flip side for everybody that's like a Scrum Master, a project manager, a program manager, or even like these product owners, product managers, right? Your skills with Jira are different. They're not the how do I create a workflow. Your skill set here, being a Scrum Master, product owner, is how do I leverage a good workflow to deliver value, right? But having an appreciation, having an understanding of how Jira works under the hood will make you a significantly better Scrum Master. And I tell you this from experience because I did this. I was a Jira administrator for 3 years before I made the transition over to like project management, program management, really, right? And because I was able to know how to like really work Jira, I knew the limitations, I knew the power, I knew what I could do with that tool. I was able to like create like the ultimate playbooks for like how to actually deliver business value because I can create the fields, I could create the workflows, I could organize the data knowing intimately how Jira works from like issue type hierarchies, right? How to manage releases, components, all that good stuff. I could use all that information to like really push the needle on software delivery, right? So that's kind of what I want you to focus. If you're in this camp, if you're in this product owner, product manager, Scrum Master, project manager, program manager camp, I want you to focus not on like, again, how Jira how to make a workflow, right? How to make a field required. That's not important. But I need you to focus and understand, hey, these are the limitations, these are the customizations, these are the validators that you can put in a workflow. This is how you make a field required so that you can influence behavior for the rest of the team, the rest of your organization, right? And Jira as a Scrum Master is a very important skill to have because Jira is, in my opinion, one of the best tools, one of the most important, one of the most popular tools in this agile space. And so if you're going to take the time to learn an agile based project management tool, there's a lot out there. Version 1, Azure DevOps, I hate to say Rally, right? If you're going to be taking the time to learn one of these, it's good for you to kind of invest your time in Jira, because then also everything you learn in Jira, you're going to be able to take it on and do it somewhere else. So Josie's like, how did you expand your knowledge and skills in Jira? So Josie, I actually have a video. You're going to have to go through it. It's maybe a month and a half old now, but and I basically walk you through like how I became a Jira expert. But the key takeaway, Josie, is you gotta roll up your sleeves. You can't think about or read a book on push-ups, right? You can't, like, what am I reading right now? I'm reading this book on like growth hacking, right? I can't think about it and then expect to just do it. You have to do it. You have to like put in the work. You have to go put in the reps, right? And actually do it. So what I do, and I give you some tips over there, and I'll share a tip with you here, is you have Jira for free. 80% of the capabilities of Jira are totally free. And so go practice. Read through the documentation. Learn how to use Jira. Look at the requirements of jobs. If you're a Scrum Master, if you're an aspiring Scrum Master, go look at what these people are hiring for and replicate it. Do it in Jira. Go look at YouTube videos and figure out how to actually do it, right? There's paid courses. We're going to get to that in a second, right? But long term, I'm trying to develop like a very immersive, like, this is like no joke Scrum Master training for realsies type of immersion program, right? And so there's gonna be stuff like that you can find that give you real world experience, right? Because at the end of the day, you can attend all my Jira trainings, you can read all the books, you can read all the documentation, but until you actually go do it, you're not gonna get any better, right? So if you guys like that, make sure you give me a thumbs up in the chat here. I'm dropping my TED Talks of the day. So anyways, that's pretty much the advice that I have for you if you're a Scrum Master, product owner, project manager, technical program manager, right? Is leverage that Jira information, right? Gary says, utilize the Atlassian community, ask lots of questions on there. People are always willing to share knowledge, right? And Josie, take advantage of this too, right? Like I got an agenda. I'm obviously talking about stuff that I'm going to be talking about today, but I do this for the community, right? I do this for you all. And so if you become a regular, right, I'm going to be here every single Tuesday. Make sure you come with some questions, right? Come like, hey, this week I was trying to do this, I was trying to do that. I'd be more than happy to like pull up Jira and try to replicate it, right? Try to give you some tips, some advice, right? This kind of goes if you're having like, I know that we have, I attended a happy hour maybe 3 or 4 months ago where we were just like going like, hey, here's a situation I have at work. Somebody's being difficult, somebody's being tough. And I'd love to kind of like just give you my 2 cents on that kind of stuff, right? So bring those scenarios, bring those situations, bring your questions. This is the place, right? This is how you get better. This is how you expand your knowledge. Gary here, sorry. What was it, 15 years, Gary? No, since 2015, right? You've been using Jira? I think, sorry, Gary, I totally messed up your name. But I think Gary here has been using Jira since like 2015. I've been using it since 2016. And so every once in a while, the Jira guy drops in here. And, when you got the title of the Jira guy, you got to expect a good amount of skill set coming in from the Jira guy. And so, again, Josie, this is probably the best way is just to get involved in the community, right? I love hear what Gary put, right? The Atlassian community, asking questions, literally gets you to Rome, right? There's some dumb questions. I will tell you that. I hate there's no dumb questions thing, but every once in a while, some people will post some like you could have Googled this questions, but other than that, the community is the best place for you to go. All right. So we're going to jump into some more interesting things. Last 15 minutes, we're going to try to end it here with a bang. And so I'm going to talk about the Jira Marketplace. This one's a little bit more entrepreneur. This one's probably the hardest one to do out of everything here. But the reward is worth it. I don't have any actual metrics, but I will kind of show you like what if scenarios, right? But this is like my nirvana. This is like what I'm trying to get to, because the Jira marketplace, if you develop your own code, basically your own app or plugin or extension for Jira, then you can sell this stuff, right? And so I'm taking you to the Atlassian developer community here. They give you everything you need. Although this, I'm not gonna lie though, this is again hard. This is challenging. But if this is like your cup of tea, if you want to learn how to code, they give you tutorials. They help you kind of figure things out. I will tell you though that this is like they give you like, I don't know if you guys were ever experienced like the instructor explained it like 1 + 1 = 2, right? But then the homework was like 5 + 5 = 10, or the instructor explained 1 + 1 = 2. The homework was 5 + 5 + 5 = 15, but the test was like the square root of 32 plus or minus 15 divided by 10 plus minus 5, right? Like the test is like completely hard. And this is basically what this is, right? So when you're looking at this documentation, these examples are like the 1 + 1 = 2. They're supposed to design to give you that warm fuzzy feeling that this is easy, but to actually make the app is infinitely harder, right? But those rewards are worth it. And what I really like, right? We'll talk here about distributing, right? Atlassian has the ability for you to actually sell and make money off your apps. And so you can list your Forge apps. I should have had the documentations here ready to go, but assuming it's kind of like the Apple Store if you've ever downloaded an app for your phone, right? But they basically help you. And I'm trying to see if I can find the breakdown. But if I recall correct, maybe here under sell. Let's see, sell on the marketplace. I'm just trying to see. They should have some documentation somewhere that tells me how much they take, right? Because you do get a good amount of money. This is probably one of the things that I like about building for Atlassian, is that they actually give you some like 85%, I believe, of the cut. I should have had this open. I had everything else open, but anyways, there is a section for you to essentially like whatever you make here. So if you make like $10, or if you sell your app for $10, instead of making the $10, you get like $8.50. I believe, I'm pretty sure the cut is 85% for the developer, and maybe over here under pricing. Here we go. Yeah, 85% for the cloud apps, right? So if you sell an app for $10 a user, you'll get $8.50. Right now, what's really really cool. Oh, look at this! And after April 1st of 2022, you'll get 95% for the first year, right? So if you're selling an app for $10, right? Let's get the calculator out here just to kind of get you guys some numbers, right? Y'all remember $100,000 on average for the Jira admin position, right? So let's assume that you are good at coding and that you can do this, right? You have until 2024 to do this. But you sell an app $10 a user. Most companies, guess what? They don't have one user. They have like 150 users, right? So you just made $1,500 for that company. Let's assume that 50 companies get your app, right? That's $75,000, right? So you get to keep first year 0.95 of that. So you get to keep $71,250. And in case you're not sitting down, Jira charges you per the month. So you multiply that number times 12. So you're looking at $855, almost $1 million for your apps, right? And those are just some very conservative numbers that I gave you. So this, like, as you can see here on the screen, right? This is the most lucrative. This is the most exciting way for me to make money. It's obviously the hardest, right? Make no mistake of that. But if you have that skill set, right? If you kind of know how Jira works and you know how to code, this is like the perfect marriage of like how to make the most amount of money. Because I mean, who doesn't want $1 million a year, right? So that's the pricing. Anybody excited? Anybody like ever think about making an app? Let me know in the chat, right? But if you've ever thought about making an app, in the chat, let me know. I know I have a couple of ideas for some. So like I said, this is something I'm preparing myself to do in 2023. But this is probably where I want to go long term, right? So if you had to ask me like, hey, what's your 5-year goal? It's making some sort of an app. All right. Next up, we'll go to YouTube, right? And so this one's interesting too. You're all here. I don't know if you've been following me along with my journey, right? But you know that I monetized my Jira channel not too long ago. So I actually wanted to share some metrics. I want to share with you, like, how much can you make on YouTube, right? And so before I share my numbers, though, I want to look at some other people. So we'll look at three other projects or three other YouTube channels here. And so we'll start with Ravi. Shout out to Ravi here. If anybody knows him, he does a good amount of Jira content. He's mainly on the like data center side or data center side, where he's like more on the on-premise stuff, a lot more on the coding, script running, automation stuff. But he's got, as you can see, he's got 5.37, so 5,370 subscribers. He's got over 1 million views on his channel, and he's uploaded over a thousand videos. And here his earning is about $167 a month, which to me this is kind of low. I'm actually very, very surprised by this number. Um, Gary says, building an app is something I'd love to do. Finding the time to actually dig in and get the works. Yeah, this is why I've been focusing on building pillars. So once YouTube's making me money, and once I'm developing some courses, then I can basically put that stuff like on autopilot and then go make time to learn how to code the app. So, Gary, I feel you. I've been trying to do these things for years, and like I'm finally getting to the point where I develop a roadmap and a plan, eat my own dog food, to eventually get there. But as you can see, this Ravi person here, $167 a month, not bad. Hopefully it pays for a couple dinners, a couple night outs. But as you can see, you can make not the most amount of money, right? But it's still a decent chunk of change here at $167 for this for Ravi. We come over to Project Flow. Project Flow has a little bit less. He's got 3,460 subscribers, almost over 500,000 views, and only but look at this, only 52. So drastically different on the video uploads, right? Very, very different. Still a good amount of views. And he's making about $34 a month. So again, not a whole lot. This is probably going to be a Starbucks coffee once a week type of thing, but it's still a decent amount of money that you can be making here on YouTube. Now I am going to show you Tech World. So this person here, she's got 634,000 subs, 29 almost 30 million views here, almost 100 videos, and she's making $5,500 a month. So now this right here is like some quality, like you can make a living off of this, right? And so this is where you're starting to get into like the what is 6 times 12? I don't want to do $72,000 a month, if my math is correct, right? So you can see that it starts getting a little bit more enticing. It starts getting a little bit more lucrative, and if you do it correctly, right? If you jump in and do this YouTube stuff, like this is just ad revenue, by the way. If you'll notice, she has boot camp, she has courses, so she's got a lot of extra money coming in from other areas, right? And so YouTube's like a great place for you to share your knowledge, share your information, get on the platform. It is hard. It took me 9 months to monetize my YouTube. This is hard work, but I now put my YouTube on cruise control, right? Well, not cruise control because I'm here talking to you guys all, right? But just some of the things for you to keep in mind, right? Like I got 1623 subscribers, and I made, since I monetized like 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, $145, right? This is obviously not thousands and thousands of dollars like Nana, right? But this is slowly and surely gonna start feeding the family, and like right now, maybe it's a night out with the wife, right? But eventually, we'll start getting to enough where it can replace some good amounts of my bills and stuff like that, right? But um, YouTube is a viable option. I know that a lot of YouTubers out there making a ton of cash and stuff like that, but I didn't believe it until I started seeing money coming in, and let me tell you that if you dedicate yourself and get consistent on YouTube, it will work. This actually is like a viable platform to be on, and actually you earn a decent amount of money. So I recommend. And just to kind of tell you, just like some again personal information, right? Is even when my YouTube wasn't monetizing and was growing, I had some paid sponsors. So I had people paying me extra money to make dedicated videos. I had clients from like Fiverr and Upwork find me through YouTube. I have my links down below for you to find me on YouTube, on Fiverr and Upwork. And then I can charge them. You saw my rates, right? $150 an hour. I can go and charge them those rates to basically go do the work for them, right? But had it not been because of the repertoire or like, I don't know, officialness of me having my YouTube channel, like like it'd be a harder sell, right? So if anybody ever doubts like my skills, I'm like, well, just go to my YouTube channel and go look and see what I know, right? It's because all of it's unscripted. SD Nayak, thank you for the bird. Appreciate it. Anyways, and then we're basically out of time. We're gonna talk about trainer, right? So just the last way to again use your Jira skills to make money is to become a trainer, be an instructor, right? Teach one, teach people how to do it. So you can teach Jira, you can develop your material and teach it, or you can teach someone else's material. But essentially, you're just like all you're doing is teaching, right? So you're doing basically what I'm doing here, where you're in front of a class, in front of a live studio audience, and you're talking and evangelizing the good word of Jira, and you are teaching people how to use Jira. Or you do the route that I'm going down, which is like I'm going to provide my own courses. You can do them through Teachable, through Gumroad, through Udemy, through Coursera, right? So there's different avenues, and you put your courses up for sale, and then you make money there. So what kind of money can you make? So let's go take a look. So I looked up Jira on Udemy, right? And so looking at this one here, I don't know how the distributions work um, on on Jira, right? Like I'm sorry, Udemy. I don't know how these things like actually like how much of a cut you get at the end of the day. But I can tell you that if you go look at again pulling up my calculator, this person sells this class at $20 times 122,000 students, right? So we'll just be conservative here. And so if you start counting threes, right, and adding your commas, that's $2.4 million. Now, whether they got all $2.4 million or not, I'm not 100% sure. But even if you got a percentage, even if you got 50% of $2.4 million, that's still a good chunk of change, right? And so being able to have your courses obviously is going to be a very, very effective way of obviously making some money, right? And so there's this from Udemy. These are the ISOs. If you remember, this is one of the Atlassian partners. So they're making some good money here. And so you can sign up. I guarantee you these people are charging like $10,000, $15,000 for them to train you. I just guarantee you. It's going to be at least $1,000 a student. And if you have 15, 20 students, right, this is like literally you're printing money at this point, right? And so you can do that. Atlassian has their own trainings here. So you can come through their like Atlassian University. They have free stuff, but they also have paid stuff, right? And so you can come in through like the Jira administrator route, and we can come and take a look at the courses. So there's like a Jira automation course, and it's $40. So obviously not too expensive, but you can go make a course and learn these things, and a lot of good stuff here. And then finally through like Coursera, this is another one, 6,737, almost 200,000 students enrolled. Not sure how much they charge for this one. This one says all free, but it's offered by Atlassian. But through Coursera, right, you get students and stuff like that, and obviously you can make some good money there. So anyways, that's pretty much it. That was all I had. Still within the hour mark. Score. I love being able to stay in here. And so some next steps, just thank you to everybody. I kind of already shared the Jira metrics for the day, so we're on the right track. I'm trying to get to 2,000 subs by Halloween. We're 1623, I think is the number we just shared. And so we're definitely going in the right direction, making great progress. And so thank you to everybody. If you haven't subscribed, you're watching it and you made it this far, please consider subscribing. Some 80% of my viewers aren't subscribed, so that just blows my mind that, I don't know, I always subscribe to everybody whose videos I watch. So if you're watching and you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. Drop a like, right? Share these videos with your coworkers, your teams, anybody, whoever you want. And that's pretty much it. So I will see y'all next week. I really appreciate everybody being here. And thank you for everybody that participated in the chat. It makes a difference. It makes this more interactive. It makes it a little bit more personal. And every Tuesday to the end of the year, we got these scheduled. So tell your friends, tell your family, tell your coworkers, tell everybody you know that we'll be here every Tuesday. Yeah, thank you very much. I'll see you all next week, and appreciate y'all being here. Bye.
I feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle just to be me. Had to rise up just so they could see me. Did what I had to do just to feed me, and what was left over I put towards my dreaming. But the only thing in life that has meaning are the things you gotta work for, believe me. Take into your hands a plan, your own hands can land your own brand. And damn, I feel like no one takes accountability. They want the credibility, convincingly unwilling to put in the hours it takes to get some power. Don't be f***ing sour, take a cold shower, scream until you're louder, work until you're prouder, and f*** all the doubters, they're just your downers. I swear to God they all let me down. I always fought just to wear the crown. I'm f***ed off at these f***ing clowns who were all taught they deserve an ounce. It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown.